Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome. So today I'm doing something a little different. I'm going back to my Stamp With Me classes that I had started back when COVID-19 hit. And I'm going to try to do these once a month because I know you guys enjoyed them. So today that's what we are doing, and I can see you guys all coming on. So I'm just going to give it a few more seconds before I get started. So you guys had a list, for those of you that are watching from Facebook, you guys had a list that you needed to get ready, and we're going to go over that list one at a time. If you're watching later on Facebook, make sure, or on YouTube, make sure you try to find me on Facebook so you can join in on our classes. So hello everyone, I can see you all joining in. So let's go over some of the supplies you were supposed to get ready. I'm just going to bring them out one at a time. So we needed 6 colors of cardstock, and you guys, you could use anything you want. Nothing that you do today has to be like mine, because this is going to work for any color and it's going to work for any of the designer papers. Now what I did, these 6 colors coordinate with the designer paper I'm going to show you. So there's my 6 colors. We also needed 2 sheets of Whisper White. Now we may not use all of this. I just wanted you to have extra on hand because this is going to be used for the sentiment layers. And I asked you guys to bring either a punch or a die shape for your sentiments. And I'm actually using the Label Me Lovely punch. I'm going to also show you 2 sets of cards that I made prior to this, and I used a different shape. The designer paper I'm using is the poinsettia paper. We needed 2 pieces that measure 12 by 6, but I'm going to cut them while I'm explaining what we're doing. I think I forgot to tell you guys 1 ink color. So make sure you grab an ink color that matches your designer paper. That's just going to be for your sentiment layer. So I'm using soft suede ink with mine. Okay, so that takes care of the cardstock and the designer paper. Now, something else you needed to get ready was the layering with the Whisper White. For that, you needed 4 pieces that measure 5 by 3 1/4. Wait a minute, that's the wrong ones. Hold on, I'm going in order. 4 pieces, 5 by 3 1/4. That's these ones, so they're skinnier this way. And then 4 pieces that measure 5 1/4 by 4, and then 1 piece that measures 3 3/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make my little piles here so we'll know which ones to dig out. And I'll let you guys know what to dig out. So just make your piles with the same sizes right handy by. And I'm not going to actually show you all of the cards ahead of time. I want to keep the surprise element in there. So as soon as we start working on 1 set of cards, we're making 11 cards with this, with what I'm showing you today. So the first set is going to be 4. The first thing we're going to do is bring all of your cardstock in. We're going to cut all of the cardstock. So go ahead and bring in your trimmer. These are, and not the white, we're not using the white. We're going to cut all of the cardstock at 5 1/2 on the 11-inch side. So they're all going to be the same. So you're going to end up with 2 pieces of the same color. You can go ahead and cut that. Now remember that I have people, hopefully I have people stamping with me today, so I'm going to go a little slower so that you guys can keep up with me. I have a hard time going slow, so just holler if I'm going too fast. So you should have 12 pieces when you're done. What we're going to do is get everything ready ahead of time, and then we're going to do the cards 1 set at a time. Now this is something that if some of you guys are demonstrators, this was done on our demonstrator planning place. It was done because we're demonstrators. We get to take part in classes like that. And you guys that are not demonstrators, starting in January, we have a really great joining opportunity coming up. So I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later. Oops, I still need, keep your cutter handy. Okay, I want to talk to you. The reason I didn't cut my designer paper ahead, and I maybe should have mentioned this ahead of time, like this sheet here, there's no issues because it's all over the place. There's no horizontal or vertical. Same with this one. This one is not too bad. It's got a wood grain pattern. But when I flip it over to this side, my branches are all facing the same direction. So if you have a sheet of paper that is directional like this one, what you want to do is make sure that you have it right side up the way you want it. We're going to cut this way because we don't want the strips to be upside down or sideways when we glue them. So make sure if you have a directional pattern, it's 12 across and 6 down. So now we're going to go ahead and cut both of these pieces at 6 inches. So if you have 2 pieces of 12 by 12, you can make 22 cards with what I'm going to show you today. Okay, so this, I'm only using 2 today, so I'm going to set these aside. I'm going to use these for something else. Okay, what I want to do next before I start cutting into my paper, I want to score all of the cardstocks. So we got 12 pieces. We're going to score them all at 4 1/4. Now there's 12 pieces and we're actually making 11 cards. So you're going to have one left over when we're done. Now I opted to do Christmas cards this time. One set that I'm going to show you, or actually both sets that I'm going to show you later are birthday cards. Because you know, with our random act of kindness birthday club that we have on our Facebook page, I am almost out of birthday cards, so I made 22 of them. So is anyone stamping with me today? I know a lot of you said you were getting your supplies ready. Just give me a thumbs up if you're stamping with me. Okay, all of my cardstocks have been scored. Now I'm waiting to see if anyone's stamping with me. I know a lot of you guys said you were, so I haven't seen any thumbs up go by yet. Okay. Oh, Tony's stamping. Peggy is stamping. Oh, I'm so happy to see you guys. Oh, I'm seeing some thumbs up too. Okay, we're going to get started with the first set of 4 cards. So what we're going to do, you're going to pick out 4 cardstock colors. Oh, Dolores, you're going to stamp after you watch. That's fine too. A lot of people wait. A lot of people want to see first. Okay, so go ahead and pick out 4 different cardstock colors. Let's see, I'm going to throw in a vanilla in there. So these are my 4 pieces. I'm going to set those aside. The white that you're going to need is the skinnier one, the 4 pieces that measure 5 by 3 1/4. Okay, so there's our little stash. Now you're going to bring in your designer paper. We're going to be cutting both layers at the same time. And the first cut is going to be on the 12-inch side at 4 1/2. If you don't want to cut them at the same time, you can do them separate. I'm just choosing to do them together. And then we're going to take the longer piece and set it aside. So this measures 4.5 by 6, and you should have 2 pieces. Okay, I'm going to give everybody time to do their cutting. Now we're going to take both of these pieces. We're going to turn on the 6-inch side, and you're going to cut at 3. So now we have 4 pieces that measure 3 by 6. Now I don't know about your trimmer, but with my trimmer I can cut 4 designer pieces, designer paper pieces at once. We're going to make 2 more cuts. So go back to the 4.5-inch side, the longer side, and you're going to cut twice, 2 fingers at 1.5. So there's 4 pieces, and we're going to cut in 1.5 again a second time. Okay. So now what we have is 1, 2. We're going to set these all down because we need to match up our patterns. Let me see, I need more room. Now I'm going to bring in a set of 4 cards to show you what we're doing. Now we're going to flip the other pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 of each. Wait a minute, what did I do wrong? I think I need 3 of each. There we go. Okay, so we're going to have 3 of each this way. So line those up. And I'm going to bring in some cards to show you what we are doing. Because we are doing the 4 pieces of white. Here's my first set. You can see here, we're going to glue these on the white. And we're going to mix and match the patterns. You can see on all 4 of these cards, none of the patterns are in the same spot. I get them all going in different directions. Isn't that neat? So there's my first set. Now I'm going to bring in the second set that I made. We're going to do the same thing. So on this one, I used the Everyday Label Punch. On this set, here's the second set. I used the die from the Hippo and Friends. Okay, and again, you can see that my designer paper is not in the same spot twice. Okay, so I'm going to take these out. I'm going to see if I can place them somehow so you guys can see them all. Might not be able to get them all in there. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of a visual. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is start by going 1, 2, and 3. So there's 3 different patterns. I'm going to take this one and move it over 1. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to move it down here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now this one, I don't have this one in this spot, so I'm going to move that one there. The wood grain I don't have in the 3rd spot, so I'm going to move that one in the 3rd spot. And then this one I have one at the end. At the end, I don't have one in the center. So that's how I figured out where all of my pieces needed to go. They're in different areas. So again, just start out with one pattern. I went 1, 2, 3. So start with one, going diagonal like this, and then just play around till you get every which way on the rest of them. Now we're going to glue these in place. I'm just going to wait a little bit, make sure everybody's got their pieces lined up, because the next step is to glue these all on the white layers. Okay, so I'm going to start with the ones down here. And what I did is I started in each corner, so leave about 1/4 of an inch on all 3 sides. And I'm going to do the next one on the end. And then I'm going to do the one in the middle last. Then once we have all 11 of our cards, we're going to actually glue the sentiment in place at the end. We're going to do them all at the end. Okay, so there's my first one already. I should have moved this one over just a tad. I don't know if I can lift it up. I'm not going to mess with it. So there's my first one. So we're going to do this 4 times. I'm going to see if I can glue this one down a little bit better. Sometimes when I'm talking at the same time, I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. So you can see why the directional designer paper, directional. See how these branches need to be standing up? So that's why we had to make sure that the directional was 12 inches across. So for those of you that are just watching, okay, wait a minute. This is going to be probably slow going for you. Okay, I did better on that one. There's number 2. This is just a really quick way if you need cards in a hurry, a bunch of cards in a hurry, this is the way to go. And this is actually called double wonder cards. And who would have thought to put these 2 patterns together? But they look great because of the 3 pattern thing going on. And you have the wood grain mixed in there, and it looks fabulous. Okay, so you can see that I've got 1, 2, and 3. Again, I started out with 1, 2, and 3 diagonal, and then add in my pieces. I can't wait to see what you guys create. I hope you'll add pictures to the page, because everyone's going to have different designer papers. Everyone's going to have a different shape for the sentiment. It's just going to be really neat to see what everybody comes up with. Okay, so there's my 4 panels. Look how easy and quick that was. Okay, I'm just going to move on just a little bit. Maybe I'll just give it about 30 more seconds for everyone to be glued in place. If you have a really organized counter and you're keeping up with me, you should be able to glue as I glue. Just make sure you have enough room spread out so you guys can lay everything out the way that I'm showing you. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and fold all of my cardstock pieces on the score line. Now what's great, as I show you the other cards, the reason you cut your cardstock in half at 5.5, some of the cards are going to be facing this direction and others are going to be facing in this direction. It works. It works for all 11 cards. Okay, so now we can start gluing these to the card fronts. They're just going to go right in the middle. Okay, let me see. I This one needs to go this way. I turned it upside down. Look how great that looks on the real red. There's number 1. Let's see, this one needs to go this way. A little bit of a different look with the soft suede. And even though I'm using Whisper White looks great on Very Vanilla. It's nice to have the two neutrals together. See what I mean? You could, because you have the white in my petals, and then you have some like a Very Vanilla in the flower, and it looks great. Two neutrals. Okay, and this one needs to go this way. Okay, so let me just add those. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's the first 4 cards. And we're going to actually set these aside and work on another set of 4. And like I said, we're going to do the sentiments at the end. Lisa is asking, why 11 and not 12? Did I say 11? The designer paper is 12 inches. I might have said 11 by mistake. You're using 11-inch cardstock and then 12-inch designer paper. Sorry if I messed up there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set these aside. So I'm going to pick these up. And we're going to work on the next set of 4. So now you need to bring in the remainder of your designer paper. We're going to make another cut. Oh, 11 cards, Lisa. Yes, 11 cards. It just works out that way. You'll understand more after you see how we cut the designer paper. We use every single piece that we cut, and there's not anything left when we're done with the 11 cards to do number 12. Okay, we're gonna go to cut the next cut at 4 inches. Again, cutting both pieces. We're gonna use the 4-inch piece. You're going to have a 3.5-inch piece left over. So that'll be for the last set. Okay, yeah, so that's where the 11 comes in, because we have nothing, when we're done cutting this designer paper, there's nothing left. It's really amazing. Whoever came up with this, really, really smart. Okay, now that we have the 4-inch pieces cut, we're gonna snip off 3/4 of an inch. And we're not using these 2 pieces on the next set of cards, so you're going to set these aside. So now we have a piece, or 2 pieces, 4 inches by 5.25 inches. And this next step is really easy. You're going to cut through both pieces 1 inch. So 1 inch, 1 inch. You're going to do that 3 times. Come on, stay there. Okay, so you should have 8 1-inch pieces. Oh, Debbie, you're saying you have a lot of designer paper to work with. Yes, this is just a great way to use up your designer paper and make a lot of cards. Okay, guess what? It's time to pick out 4 more cardstock colors. So I haven't used this color. So 1, 2, and now I'm going to start doubling up. So I'm going to go 3 and 4. So there's 4 more colors. Now before we start using the designer paper, I'm going to bring in the cards to show you. That way it gives everybody else a chance to finish their cutting. Now this is a really neat way to do the next card. We're actually going to do, let me bring them in. Okay, that's what, these are going to go this way. They open up this way. So we will need the 4 pieces that measure 5 1/4 by 4. Okay. We're actually going to make a score line and flip that over. There's a little flap there. So let me show you what those 4 look like. And again, take note of the designer paper. There's those 4. Look how pretty that is. Let me get the other 4. Okay, here's the next set. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you can see that I have the designer paper. There's 4 patterns, 1 on each flap, 1 on each side. Very simple. Now I just got to check my measurement. So 1 1/4, we're going to score our cardstock at 1 1/4. So let me go ahead and put these off to the side. It's going to be hard for me to fit them all in the camera. Okay, that's what we're going to use, but we're going to go ahead and score our cardstock. So 1 1/4 on one end only, on 4 different colors. So you guys look, by the time we're done these, we're gonna have 8 cards made already. That's how quick this is. Okay, so once you have that, you're just gonna go ahead and fold on the half and then flip this the other way. So your card is gonna look like this. It's gonna fold with the flap over to the left. We're going to do that 4 times. So easy. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just love the variety. Of doing the 6 different colors of cardstock and then adding the designer paper. It's just so cool the way this works out. Okay, so here are my 4 colors. I'm gonna have to move these cards over because I don't have enough room to work. What I'll do is I'll bring these in one more time while people are getting their stamping ready, they're folding. So again, this was the first set. You got the designer papers. And I'll have pictures of these on our Facebook page after also. And then here is the second set. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and take these and put them aside just so I'll have more room to work. Okay, and here is where we need to figure out what we want to do with our patterns. So we've got 1, 2, Okay, so all I did was take the first two, flip them over. And I don't think I want to have the two flowered ones together. So what I'm gonna do is actually do this and this. So I've got the two browns with the holly berries. And then I've got the two poinsettias. And then the wood grain on each one. And what I'm actually gonna do to change things up a bit, I'm gonna set the designer paper to the left on one. So these two will have the designer paper on the left. The next two will have the designer paper on the right. Hope that makes sense. So let me just move these over. The first thing we're gonna do is glue on the white layer. And you're gonna glue that even. I choose to do this before I glue the white in case I have to trim, and this one's perfect. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to bring in the soft suede. So glue down your strip first, trim if needed, and then we're going to glue that to the inside. And then I'm going to show you something that I did that you don't need to do, but I'll explain in a minute. Okay, now I need the wood grain. So strip number 2. Okay, I'm going to show you my little trick. Let me get some dimensionals. And you guys can opt to do this if you want to. I feel that when I fold this over, it just kind of gets lost because we're actually going to glue a sentiment on here. So it's going to be nice and flat, right? I wanted this flap to show. So I opted to glue it down with dimensionals to give it some height. You know me, I'm a dimensional queen. Okay, so see, it gives it some height so you can actually see the flap more. And then when I glue the sentiment down, I'll glue it with dimensionals, so I just like the looks of that better than it being completely flat. Okay, there's card number 1. Now let's move on to number 2. We're going to do the same thing. Now this time I want my designer paper on the left side. So I'm going to start out with this one. Oh, I'm seeing some likes. So you guys like the idea of the dimensionals to give it some height. I just think it looks better. Okay, there's my number 2. And then glue that to the inside. Here's the one that goes on the flap. Oh, look how pretty that is with the garden green. Now I'm going to dig out my dimensionals. Fold that over. And again, you can see the shadow there, so it looks like it's popped, and it is popped. There's number 2. So now let me bring in the strips for 3 and 4. We're going to do another piece of white, and I'm going to use this one this time. And you guys, wouldn't this make a great gift for Christmas for someone that you don't know what to get? A nice set of cards. You could do a nice belly band with the rest of the designer paper, and just put the envelopes in there. A nice belly band, decorate the front. What a nice gift that would make. Okay, here's number 3. Oh, this is gonna look good with the real red. And then here's my second strip. And more dimensionals. Sarah's saying she ordered dimensionals yesterday. Yes, I did notice that, Sarah. So for those of you guys that ordered during the online extravaganza yesterday, I have your packets all ready to go in the mail. It'll be Friday, of course, with Thanksgiving tomorrow. Okay, now this is going to go over to the left. So we're going to start out with the wood grain. Oh, Gloria's saying she likes the flat anchored down. I do too, because you know, you can leave it without anchor it down and then put the sentiment, but then the corners are lifted up and I just didn't like that look. So that's why I came up with that. Plus I needed to use dimensionals, right? Okay, this is going to go on the inside. Now this is Bumblebee. I hope I said Bumblebee at the beginning and not crushed curry. It's actually Bumblebee. And look how pretty these designer papers look against the Bumblebee. It looks really pretty. Okay, one more time for dimensionals. Okay, there's 4 more, you guys. I'm just going to hold off just for a little bit. Yeah, see, you guys all agree. I can see you all agree that the dimensionals under the flap, it just, that's the way to go. Because, let me bring my other ones in. See here what I did? I actually just glued this side. I actually need to add liquid glue to that. I added dimensionals right under the left-hand side so that, and the corners aren't lifted up. It just looks so much better and cleaner to me that way. Okay, so there's 4 more. Now we need to cut again. And remember the 2 little pieces we had left over from this second set of cards. We're going to use this on the 3rd set of cards. Oh, thanks, Mary. Mary's saying happy birthday. It's my birthday on Saturday. So you guys be on the lookout. I'm going to make an announcement about a special I'm running because it's my birthday weekend. Okay, here is the last piece of designer paper. So this is 3.5 by 6. And now what we're going to do, I gotta look at my measurements. Okay, we're gonna cut at 2 1/4. Twice. So 2 1/4. And 2 1/4. So these 4 pieces, you're gonna set these handy by because we're gonna do 2 cards. And the little piece here that you have left over, we're gonna cut that in half at 1 3/4. And that's going to be for the last card. Remember I said we're going to use every single bit of paper we've got. So 1 3/4, you're going to have 4 pieces. You're going to set those aside. That's going to be for the last card. Okay. So these should measure 3 1/2 by 2 1/4, and there should be 4 pieces. No more cutting. We're all done with the cutting. So now we need to pick 2 colors for the next 2 sets of cards. I'm going to go with Bumblebee and Garden Green. And you can go ahead and fold those on the score line. And while people are catching up, I'm going to bring in the next two set of cards. These are really easy because we have 4 of these. We're just gonna flip them over 2 and 2. And that little tiny piece that we had left over, we're gonna put it in the middle. No white on this one, it's just 3 layers of designer paper. So there's the first set of 2. And here's the second set of 2. Look how easy, but look how pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see if I can put this. I just want to see if you guys can see these on the camera. Okay, I'm going to leave them right there. Hopefully they won't be in my way. So now what we're going to do is you're going to use 4 patterns. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we just need to match them up. So I'm going to go ahead and use the wood grain with the poinsettia. So I'm going to put my plain piece on the bottom like I did here. And then this other plain piece is going to go opposite on the top. So that's going to go like that. And then the 2 little skinny strips, I'm going to actually flip them over. I'm going to put the wood grain right here. And I'm going to put the pine cone right there. So there's the card fronts. So let's go ahead and glue those down. Whoops. Okay, I missed somebody. I missed something on the comments. Happy anniversary. Okay. Oh, it's the 50th anniversary now. Who said that? I can't see who said that. Oh, Victoria. Happy 50th. Wow. Okay, so what I'm making sure when I'm gluing this down, what I'm looking for is that all 3 sides are the same. Just like that. So your anniversary is on Friday. Okay, and my birthday's on Saturday. And even if this doesn't end up together, don't worry about it because we have that little piece in the center, right? See how there's going to be a little bit of space there. Who's gonna know unless you tell them? Now we're gonna glue the little skinny piece right in the center. Oh, I hope I have this straight. So hard to tell with the camera. I need to go down just a tad, I think. I'm gonna try to hold it up so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, there's the first one. Is that straight? I think it is. Now I'm working on the second one. Do the same thing. Piece number 2. So I think by now you guys should understand why there's no card 12, right? I will not have anything left over to do a card 12. Okay, let me lift this up so I can see. Okay, so there's my 2 cards. Let me move these over. So we have 1 card left to do, and it's using the little tiny rectangles. We're going to flip those over. And guess what? You should have 1 piece of white left over. And I have 2 colors left. I think I'm going to use the old olive. And what I want to do here is actually put the flower on one corner and then this one on the opposite corner and have the 2 browns diagonal. Oh, I didn't bring the cards in. I got to show you the cards. So here's that one and this one. So again, if you have little pieces of designer paper left over, look at the nice card you can make with just these tiny little pieces. And these only actually measure 1.5 by 1 3/4. So this would be another easy one to do. Now I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch. I'm going to glue this down. Here's my first two. You guys, I really missed having these classes. I have to tell you, so we did over 30 classes when the virus first hit. And I really got burnt out. So that's why I stopped for a little bit. Okay, there's number 3. So you actually should go even a little bit closer than 1/4 inch. There's not much there to play with. So I'm going to try to do this class, the Stamp With Me class, once a month. I'm going to do probably the last week of the month. Okay, there's number 4. And then we just need to glue that in the center of card base number 11. Make sure if you have a directional pattern that it's facing the right way before you glue it down. Okay, so there's the last one. And then our next step is to do the sentiment layer. So you're going to go ahead. I know Dolores is just saying that she can't believe I just did 11 cards. This is so quick because cut, 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 glue, glue, glue. And then when you get ready, and you can decorate these as fancy as you want, but I mean with one sentiment, if you want to use ribbon, if you want to use bling, or you could just leave it out and just keep it plain. It's up to you on how many layers you want, how you want to embellish them. Okay, so now let's go ahead and dig out the white. Now I'm going to show you the sentiments that I used. So on this set, I actually used Peaceful Moments, which is the poppy set. And here's the sentiment. On this set, I used Bloom and Grow, and I used Let's Celebrate You. And this time, because I'm doing Christmas cards, I'm using the Merry Christmas from Perfectly Plaid. Now I'm using soft suede ink and the Label Me Lovely punch. So I'm going to go ahead and do 3 or 4. Whoops, why is that not sticking? Okay, I'm going to do 3 at a time just so I can punch them out. So this is something, if you can't keep up with this part, you can always finish them after I'm done. And please, everybody, please add pictures. I want to see your cards. Okay, there's 3. So you can see why I told you to bring 2 sheets of white. You may need them depending on how large your sentiment layer is. Okay, that one didn't stamp. I didn't even notice. Okay, so how many do I have? I've got 5. 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, and 11. I'm concentrating, so I'm being quiet. 3 more. I want these to be nice and straight. Now I think I started, for those of you on Facebook, I started a new units tab. And I'm going to be putting, instead of you guys having to go through 30 some videos, this will probably be unit number 3, I think. If I didn't do it yet, I will. They're all going to be found on unit 3, and we're going to do this once a month. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a sample card. Kind of going to go backwards here. So this was the last one we created. You gotta have dimensionals. So I'm gonna stick this right in the middle. Oh, look how pretty that is. And I decided I was gonna use champagne, the champagne jewels on this one, on this set. Let's see, I'm gonna add a big one right there, a medium-sized one, and a little tiny, okay, the bow's gonna go there. Well, it doesn't really show over here, so I'm just gonna put it there. And let's see, the ribbon that I'm using today is just a little skinny one. It's from All the Trimmings. It's the Old Olive. And no, I did not make my bows ahead of time, but I only have a few that have bows on them. There's my little tiny bow. Let me get some scissors. I got to show you my scissors, you guys. I got these scissors from Stampin' Up for an onstage event. Look at the beads on that. Isn't that cute? And then there's a little charm. It's like a little light bulb. And then a little Stampin' Up charm. They sent us, because of my title, they sent us scissors in the mail. It's quite awesome. Okay, now I'm going to glue the ribbon. I'm going to put that right in the corner. Okay, and there's card number 1. Except this loop is a little bit bigger. Okay, there's number 1. And let's see, then we have the 2 that we made this way. So I need 2 more bows. I think that's it for bows. I did something else on the other ones. So for those of you guys that are stamping, I may lose you here, but you can decorate your cards the way you want when you do your sentiment. So I'm just going to keep going. And you can always finish up once I'm done here. Okay, 2 more bows, 2 more sentiments. And if you guys like clean and simple, you don't need to do the ribbon or the bling. If you want more extravagant, you can even add more than what I'm doing. Okay, that's going to go right in the center of this little designer paper strip. We've got 2 of those. Two bows. So it's kind of neat to see. This is really, really skinny ribbon. It's 1/4 of an inch. And I got lace on this one, and then I got the metallic edge lace on this one, which is a little bit bigger. Okay, now let's do some bling. I'm going to do 2 at the top. And just one at the bottom. So there's that one. Oh, you guys, look what I did. It's upside down. Don't tell. I hope this one's not. That one's not. See, my brown should have been at the top. I'll fix that afterwards. I do make mistakes just like you do. Okay, there's those two. Next is going to be the 4 with the flaps. And this is one that's already done. And again, we just want to glue on the other side of the flap. So when you put this down, actually this one is skinnier. I'm going to have to glue this right on the flap. More dimensionals. And I went a little above center point. And all I did on this one, I did a knot. Let me see if I can find my other one. There's my other one. So I did a knot on both. Just a little tiny knot. I'm just going to do one of these. I'm not going to have you guys wait and see all 4 of these. And I'll finish them up. And like I said, you'll see pictures. I'll post them in groups. Okay, here's the little knot I need to glue down. See, that's cute, but just a little knot even if you don't like to make bows. And then we've got some bling over to the left. And I got a little tiny one on the flap. So I'm going to do all 3 of these the same way. And the last set is the set with the 3 panels going horizontal. And, oh, I did have a bow on those ones too. So I do need to make 4 more bows actually. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one. I could make these cards over and over. This doesn't get old. This is my 3rd set and it's just, what a great idea. Okay, there's my bow. We've got one more sentiment. Oh, Penny's saying the sentiments really help make the cards pop, don't they? I mean, look at it now and then put this on there. It just changes the whole look of it. Okay, and my glue dot. This time the bow goes on this side. And we're going to add some more bling. And I'm going to do all 4 of these the same way. So these are the last 4. So let me go ahead. What I'm going to do is just bring in this completed set. Just so you guys can see them again. So this was the last one I did. Where's the other one that matches that one? There's those 2. And then we got the 4 with the flaps. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the 4 with the horizontal strips going across. There you go, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed this class and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Please stay safe. And I hope to see you guys next Wednesday with another class for you. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Good night.